Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
We're at home. We had our big outing last week, which the bar we wanted to go to was closed. We found another one on a busy street, so today is the first podcast.
I was wondering that you remember when we used to do the pub quizzes? What was the name of our team?
Oscar's Big Night Out.
Yeah, so that was basically Gay Bros Big Day Out.
We'll
Big day
drinking
day. Yeah, big day drinking day out. All right, so what did we watch this time?
We watched the Dogma classic by Lars Von Trier, The Idiots. It was the second, right, in the Golden Heart trilogy?
I think
Dancer
so.
in the Dark was the last.
Yeah, the first one was Breaking the Waves.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. And why do you hate me so much as to force me to watch this? It's like, was Clueless not enough?
Well, there was Celine Dion Goes Boating. There was The Godfellas.
No, you like The Godfellas.
The Goodfellas. No, I love Lars von Trier. I love it a lot, and your objection to this film made it even more attractive. And to be honest, I watched this film. It had to be the third one that I saw, because this is hard to find. It really is hard to find. I just remember enjoying it so much the first time, and the finale, it just felt like I was punched in the gut super hard, and I wanted to see if it would do that again.
Yeah, so I had to say that when you were talking about emotional payoff, at least this was not 3 hours. That's true, it's not a touring horse. Let's be honest on this. There is some payoff at the end, that's for sure. So,
some payoff, come on, that final scene is about as good as cinema gets.
Well, okay, we will go over this. So as a summary of this movie, and why it's so iconic, I think, on our conversations. I mean, it has popped out like many, many times. It's like probably after Funny Games, this may be the movie that we have mentioned more times. And The Fall, probably.
Yeah, we're both, as much as we love to hate them, we really love Lars Von Trier and Michael Haneke. Those are our go-to emotional cutting. Like, they make us feel like we're alive because we hurt.
Well, I mean, I think that is like, it's slightly different. Well, let me just summarize first the movie. But basically, this is the second movie on the Dogma movement. The Dogma movement is basically trying to hinder the creativity of the director, or just trying to set restrictions for just forcing him to be more creative in other ways, and just try to distill what cinema can be. Because Lars von Trier thought that cinema was dying, and he was the last person that could actually bring it back to life. And the way of bringing it back to life is like not letting you using a light, artificial light, for example.
No violence, no music, no lighting.
Yep. So try to make it almost like a documentary. Wasn't there like even some kind of restriction about the script doesn't have to be complete?
I can't remember all 10 of the requirements, but that probably sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there is nothing that says that. But genre movies
must be handheld.
Yeah, genre movies are not acceptable. So everything feels very homemade. You know, that you can see like the microphone from time to time, like floating over the team. You know, over the cast. It's interesting, just to say the least, if you have never seen any Dogma films. But if it's, I don't know, revitalizing cinema as we know it, I think that it may have fell short from its perspective, from its goals. The movie itself is like the story of this woman that meets up with a group of people, like randomly runs into them. Karen. Yeah, Karen, that's true. Pretty iconic name. Karen runs into this group of people that basically like to pretend that they are mentally challenged, or as they like to say over and over, retards. They pretend to be retards, or idiots too. The reason why they do that is a bit up to each one of them. Is that there is like the official story that they try to connect with their inner idiots. And they try to make it as a bit more of a critique to society, mostly. That's what Stoffen, that is like the leader of this group, says.
He's the only one that seems to have an ideology behind
Exactly.
what's happening, and he completely rejects what they just keep saying is the middle class ideals, and this somehow rejects everything that they are disdainful about. Somehow it makes sense.
Somehow. It's a kind of thing that is okay. At the end, it works better if you think that, look, everyone that is here, because the story is true that it's narrative. Well, they have like two parts, of course. Is that first you have like the part with Karen integrating into the group and the kind of activities that they do, because they go like visiting factories or going to the local swimming pool, and they pretend, like most of them, to just be mentally handicapped. And then you have the other part of the story that is a series of interviews that God, Lars Von Trier, is doing to the people that they used to be part of that group.
Yeah, it's like a documentary of this thing happened, this kind of cultish group, and we see everything that happens with them, and eventually the end. And then somehow some filmmaker got interested in
Yeah, it has like that second layer on top of it, but I have to be completely honest, it's not too interesting, that other part. It's like I think that the interviews are okay, and it's almost like a way of, okay, I cannot do narration because that will be against Dogma. But I'm going to be like doing this interview for actually just expressing how they feel. So it felt a bit more like, okay, sure, you actually have like these rules that you want to work with, but at the same time you are trying to work around them.
I agree with you.
Sure.
But I also disagree with you in that, so I think it's important to note that we meet Karen on the day that she meets the group, and we know nothing about her past. And we know nothing about the past of the group. Throughout the film, we learn little bits and pieces of each one.
Well, what I was going to say is that what I think that it makes interesting this film is that it's true that Stoffen gives his perspective, and they develop like his character a bit, but everyone has a different reason for being there. Everyone has like something different that they want to get out of it. So it's not like a cult that they all believe on this. It's more like they were looking for some way of, or A, running away, or B, like finding some kind of meaning on their lives. And they found this. As someone says on the interviews at the beginning, it's like Karen would have joined anything.
But this is why I disagree with you that the interviews didn't really make sense, because it was a really valid plot device where we got to learn a little bit more about the characters. You saw like real emotions from them. I particularly loved the one of the art professor who's like, oh, someone said you don't like the middle class. What about them? And he's like, I don't know, the middle class. Like, it just exposes some of them for being such idiots.
Yeah, no, and at the end it's like all of them, they have their own problems. They have like their own, I don't know, from a society perspective, they are like pretty broken. It's like so the story basically is that they just go to different places and they make the audience feel uncomfortable seeing how they pretend to be retards. There is this very uncomfortable scene, not only the orgy, but also the scene where they leave the youngest kid, the youngest boy, with this group of very tattooed like bikers. And he's like pretending to just be mentally handicapped, and the guy is afraid that okay, they figured out that I'm not mentally handicapped, they're going to kill me. And instead of just like leaving him for 30 seconds there, is that they just, the guy, the Stoffen guy, the leader, is that no, I'm going to be just I'm just putting him to the test.
Yeah, so when they go out to these excursions, like they went to a swimming pool a couple times actually. They went to a very nice restaurant which is where they meet Karen. Not all of them are pretending to be spazzing, which is what they call for this acting. Some of them pretend to be handlers, and the handlers of the spastic people often just make the situation more uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And in the case that you referred to, the handler leaves the young kid with the bikers, and then they're trying to be nice people, and they try and take him to the bathroom, and then the young kid actually kind of gets sexually assaulted, but because he can't break character. I mean, everything about this is so uncomfortable.
So it looks like most of the movie is actually designed with the idea of making the audience feel uncomfortable about what they are seeing. But it's like, what is the point of it? I still don't get it. It's actually like a critique about society.
That's the point.
It's a bit more like just trolling me. It's like Lars Von Trier trolling me again. It's like, okay, you're not trying to give me a message per se. You're not trying to tell me it's like the middle class is broken. Or, it's like our bourgeois constructs are like just hindering us down. Or, like just mentally challenged people should be killed. It's like there is nothing that you're trying to tell me. It's that you're like just trying to make me feel uncomfortable with what I'm seeing.
I have a theory that this whole thing is a metaphor or an allegory. Because if you think of the timing, Dogma was 95, right? This film was screened at Cannes in 98 and then in the US in 2000, although very edited. They didn't show the full version in theaters in America. So he's a couple years into this dog thing. I'm pretty sure that he sees the middle class that the idiots were trying to destroy or reject or make uncomfortable.
Like the audience?
Is his feeling about what Dogma is doing, and that he's creating a bunch of arbitrary rules that make people super uncomfortable, and they're going to go in and shake things up and make people open their minds. But then Lars Von Trier had no idea where to go because Dogma, there's no point behind it at all, and it didn't save cinema. So then he uses that emotional twist at the end to be like, and this is why there is gravitas in our film movement.
So just to give the leitmotif at the end, it's like towards the end of the movie, they start challenging each other with the idea of what about if you actually spaz in your regular life? Why don't you go like back to your regular life and you start like pretending that you are like mentally challenged?
Because at this point they had only done it in front of strangers, and now
Exactly.
the challenge is to go back and do it in front of people who are meaningful to you.
Exactly. And they chose a couple of things. Some of them they say like, I'm not going to be doing it. One of them that is that they are teacher is that he goes back to classes and it's pretty clear that he struggles for a second about, okay, I should do something now. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
But you see, this is perfect for the metaphor, because I'm sure a bunch of directors were like, yeah, Lars, Dogma 95 is genius. And he's like, okay, go make a film. And then nobody would do it. I'm sure that this is what he was talking about.
Look, if I was a director, I would say like, look, these are completely captious ideas that you're putting together. And this is not going to be like making anything. Is that the only reason is that, yeah, I want to have a toxic relationship with you and I want you to just abuse of me. That is what happened with not Thomas Winterberg, like the guy from the Five Obstructions.
Schorkenlet.
He's like, okay, yeah, he actually wanted to play that game with him. But otherwise, he's like, why are you going to be like just subjecting yourself to this? It's like some of them, they make sense, but it's not going to be like making me any better as a director.
But can't you imagine a bunch of alcoholic Danish directors that are friendly and they're getting drunk and he's like, oh, I have this idea. And then a bunch of them were like, oh, wow, yeah, let's challenge ourselves and try and make films with obstructions. And
Sure, let me just tell you something again that maybe we didn't mention. Is like all the Dogma movies, they start with a certificate of authenticity. They start
until 2002, it had to be certified by the board.
It's like, come on. It's the definition of all of this, like, of a pretentiousness that I cannot even fathom. It's like, look, sure, at some point you may actually have thought that you were saving cinema, but this is the difference that I was telling earlier. Is like, Haneke would have never thought about something like this. Haneke doesn't think of himself as that importance that Lars Von Trier thinks about himself. I'm fine with both of them like trying to make me feel bad. I appreciate it, but only Lars Von Trier thinks of himself like more important than he truly is.
Yeah, I would agree. But also, who do we talk about more? Lars Von Trier and McLean.
But we already said this in the Five Obstructions. It's like, I think the cinema needs people like Lars Von Trier. That is, look, I'm going to be like trying something crazy. Now, most people, if they only think I'm going to try something crazy, they're going to say like, no, that's crazy, I'm not going to try it. But Lars Von Trier thinks like, I'm going to try something crazy because that something crazy is amazing. That's the only way of convincing yourself about like trying to do something that is like out of the ordinary.
So did you laugh out loud at all during this?
No, No, I couldn't,
Oh.
man. I mean, I couldn't. I was like just so uncomfortable for most of the movie, and it was like part it was uncomfortable, part it was uncomfortable with you. About like, holy shit, he actually made me finish watching it. So for the record, I watched, is this like what, like a 90-minute movie? I watched like 70 minutes of it.
You fast forwarded through the uncomfortable
No, no,
parts?
no, 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 no. I watched like back in the day, I watched like 70 minutes of it. And I said like, I don't need to finish watching this. I don't know what it comes left. And you remember you told me is that you actually sent me like the YouTube about the last scene, and you explained to me it's like this is what happens. So it's like I already knew what was like the story behind
I wish I
Carrie.
had done that.
No, it's fine. Because at that point I was thinking, okay, if he tells me this, I don't need to watch the other 70 minutes again because we will never pick this movie. But no, you did.
So they're all staying in this house that's owned by the uncle of the ringleaders, Stouffer, is that his name?
Stuffing? Yeah, stuffing. I
Stuffing.
think.
And he's supposed to be selling the house, and the uncle doesn't know that there's this like little group of people pretending to be idiots living there. And the uncle shows up randomly one day, and he demands, "Who are these people? Are they staying here?" And the Stuffin says, "Oh no, these are skilled craftsmen. I have them here to improve your house before I sell it." And he, like, they're in the yard, like, spazzing, and it was the funniest. It wasn't the funniest thing, but I thought it was so hilarious.
So when the guy is like, okay, what about that guy that is next to the bar? He's like, oh yeah, that's like a glacier. He's like just going to be like reprinting the glasses. And he just
notice
pick
a
a
problem with the
stone.
glass?
He just pick a stone and breaks a window. At that point, like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's not even like just that point was not even uncomfortable. It was just stupid, like playing stupid.
It reminded me of the comedy of his that we watched. Wow, we watched a lot of
The
Lars
boss
von
of it
Trier.
all, yeah. The boss of it all. That actually Stoffer was the main character. Well, Stoffer, no. The guy that plays Stoffer.
And what do you think about the sexual content? Because there's a full-on orgy that's shows penetrative sex, lots of erections throughout the film. At the pool, people get naked.
On the shadow, yeah.
Yeah, and so do you feel like that added anything?
Absolutely not.
No.
I think there was like pretty gratuitous, and I think that the first time that I watched it is that was like the tipping point. It's like I don't have any kind of problem with sexual content, but that point, the first time that I watched it, is that you're just provoking me. You're trolling me. I don't think that there is anything else here. So I just felt like, look, you could say like, okay, let's actually just start like making out or whatever. It's like that they pretend to, that they have an orgy while they are spazzing. Does it give me anything at all?
I think deep down, this is how he sees Dogma. A bunch of people spazzing and having an orgy together in an empty house. And he's the only one that had courage to do it between all those directors that said Dogma was interesting.
Let me ask you something. Would you be interested in watching another Dogma film?
Didn't we watch another one recently? Maybe I'm just thinking of the 5 Obstructions, but I thought we watched like a more recent Dogma film.
No, I don't think
but
so.
But yes, I would happily watch another one. I'm not tired of it yet.
I mean, I watched like 3 of them. Now it's 3. But yeah, I would be interested to just watch another one because I don't think that is bad, like what he proposed, but I think that is not so much of a limitation for the director as a limitation for the script.
Yeah, I can see that. It really limits what you can actually do within the film, not so much what the camera is doing. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, what the camera is doing is that, okay, it's going to be like looking a bit more homemade, but it doesn't matter. Is that you can still edit the crap out of it. Something that I was actually thinking that it would be like pretty interesting, that if they actually did that when they flip the bottle, if they actually took like whatever it landed, that it didn't have like any kind of a script prepared.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dogma 95 can be interesting in the way that Jorgen Leth took the obstructions that Lars Von Trier's and made it really cool. He's like, okay, it's almost like a game. I don't think Lars Von Trier sees it as a game, as a way to put out something really interesting and cool. I think he's just a pretentious twat.
Yep, I agree with that. I also think that is like with the five obstructions. These obstructions are about to try to make cinema more minimal, you know. But with the five obstructions, he was never telling him is that you have to do minimal. There was never like a budget, or you know, is that everything has to be like just almost. There was never something like you have to have a hand camera.
Yeah, it wasn't the same obstructions, but it's very similar. Like, oh, you have to film it here, you have to do this and this and this.
Yeah,
that's exactly what Dogma is.
Yeah. And that's the reason why the thing is like I don't think that this is going to be enhancing cinema as a whole, but I love that someone actually played with a idea like this. Now,
The Idiots or Dogma?
That's what I was going to say. Is like now that The Idiots was the resulting product, I don't think that is exactly the best example about like the potential of this.
Well, okay, so this is Dogma number 2. Do you remember what Dogma number 1 is?
Yeah, it's Celebration.
And that's a fucking incredible film.
Yeah, and the third one is Mifune. Those are the 3 ones that I watched. I didn't watch any other Dogma films, only those 3. And Mifune was okay, and Celebration is really good. So
I want a full list of.
It's on their webpage.
They have a webpage. The brothers.
Of course, the brothers, the quote-unquote brothers. So Festen, Idiot Turn, Mifunes, The King's Alive, Lovers, Julian Donkey Boy, Interview, Fuckland.
Interview. What is that one?
I don't know that one.
I think. Let's see.
Korean. It's a Korean movie.
What is the website?
Dogma95.tk. Dogma. Like Dogma with an E. .tk.
Oh, so yes, you asked me if I would be interested in watching another. The answer is yes. Did you have one in mind? Not that we're going to watch it next, but I'm curious.
Look, if we're going to be like doing this, probably I would say like, let's watch Celebration.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
I mean, because it's a good movie, you know, it actually just lives up to the standard of what they were trying to do. It plays by the rules, but it's a good movie. It doesn't try to be...
Dogma number 8 is from Argentina.
Yeah, I think that also like Dogma number 4? Oh no, it was probably number 8, yeah. Yeah, there are a couple of them that are in Spanish. Yeah, there is actually one from Spain, El Desenlace. Which one is this?
Reunion? Could we have seen Reunion?
And El Desenlace has like the way less known brother from Javier Bardem, Carlos Bardem.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's watch another one at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to be adding Celebration because I think that is better than Mifune. Mifune is okay too, but we can explore other ones. But the thing is, like, I had the feeling that at least these directors, once again, Lars Von Trier, I think that he has something. I don't think that he has something to say per se, but he has something that he feels the urge to communicate with the world.
That's true. He does feel the urge to say something. And when he does, it's pretty interesting. The attempt is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think what he was saying is interesting.
Yeah. So if I think that this is an artistic movie, if from an artistic perspective is good, my answer is no. Because that's basically what Dogma does, is like it actually just strips down all the artistic perspective of a movie. If I would recommend this movie to anyone, no. Just no. Is I cannot think about any other.
There's no one in your life that you know right now that you would think would get a kick out of this.
That's basically it. But it's like, I don't think that there is anyone. I cannot fathom any kind of conversation that I would end up at a point that I would say, you need to watch The Idiots.
I would agree with that. I think there are a lot of... I would recommend this. I can think of someone I would recommend this to right now besides you. But you didn't even finish the first time, so apparently you're wrong about recommending this.
No, it's still okay. But if I'm going to remember this movie, yes, I'm going to remember
100%.
Yeah. But I'm going to remember it because it made me feel in this kind of really awkward, uncomfortable way. And we didn't even mention about the background picture that I have. At the end, Karen, she actually was devastated at the beginning of the movie because she lost her newborn kid. They never mentioned about the age of the kid. They only show like a baby picture, so that you can assume that it's like probably like a very early age. And the movie ends with she going back to her place and just pretending to have a spazzing in front.
She was spazzing.
Yeah, in front of her family. That they thought they thought that she was dead, or she didn't care about it anymore.
The kid died, and she met up with this group the day before her son's funeral, and she just disappeared for 2 weeks, and she reappears. What was that?
No, it was only 2 weeks.
Yeah, which was really surprising to me. They said when she comes back, she's been gone for 2 weeks. We thought she was dead. And they sit down to have a meal, and you still don't really know what's going on, and then she starts to spaz. And this moment in the film is what Jose has chosen as his Virgil's Doom background.
I love that.
Beautiful.
I mean, I have to say, that's the thing. I went through so many steps that is that when we get to the point of scoring, I'm still not sure if I'm proud of my score, because there were like points that is like, okay, this was not as bad as I thought. And then it's like, holy shit, no, you have been trolling me. You have been like playing with me. You have been toying with me. And I'm fine with Haneke toying with me in funny games. But what you have been doing is cheap.
So I think I definitely disagree with you about that. I like the way Lars Von Trier plays with me. Oh, that sounded sexual. Probably is with Lars Von Trier. But before we get to scoring, I want to hear how you feel this compares to the others in the trilogy, and which completely innocent woman that Lars Von Trier destroyed is your favorite.
So basically, it's going to be Bjork. It's like in whatever woman that Bjork is in there, probably Bjork is going to be my pick. But besides that. If I cannot pick, if I have to just rank in them, I would prefer Breaking the Waves than this. I was pretty impressed by Breaking the Waves than The Idiots. So it would be Dancer in the Dark. No, Dancer in the Dark, Breaking the Waves, The Idiots. Sorry, Dancer in the Dark up here, just below Breaking the Waves, and then just down here, fuck you, Lars Von Trier category, The Idiots.
So obviously I am, my opinion is skewed right now because we just watched this, but I think that Karen, I don't know the actress's name, her performance is my favorite of the three. I thought she's an incredibly good actress, unless this is the only role she can play, which might be, maybe she's just a mousy, terribly sad little woman. But in terms of movies, I prefer, oh God, I'm gonna have to watch Dancer in the Dark, because right now I want to say The Idiots. I would probably say Dancer in the Dark, The Idiots, then Breaking the Waves. I do think Breaking the Waves is technically the best film of all of them, but in terms of the emotional reaction, I was devastated by Dancer in the Dark. I was devastated by The Idiots. I couldn't really connect that well emotionally to Breaking the Waves.
I didn't give a crap about Karen. Even when they say is that, well, I mean, I gave a bit of a crap, but I was like so pissed at that point in the movie that I don't care. Besides that, I already saw like that specific snippet of the movie when the husband just slaps her. I just get the fuck out. But besides that, I felt like I don't care about any of these people. All of them, they're terrible. What they're doing is terrible. But what Bjork is doing in Dancer in the Dark, or what like the woman, I don't remember the name of the actress in Breaking the Waves, is not bad. They're not terrible human beings or people that are around them.
Everyone around the heroine in Breaking the Waves was a horrible, horrible piece of shit. And so was everyone in Dancer in the Dark, with the
In Dancer in
exception
the
of
Dark,
Catherine
yes.
Deneuve. She's the only good human being in that film.
No, also the guy that was mentally challenged, and now I started using a pattern.
Oh, that took Tom York's role
Mhm.
in... Yeah.
Do you think that Lars Von Trier was thinking about casting Tom York?
I bet he wishes.
We're having a very interesting movie, Bjork and Tom York. Honestly, I couldn't connect because everything felt like so designed, so crafted for me to feel uncomfortable with the movie that I couldn't see them as human beings. I think that he jumped the shark, and for me, it's like, I don't care.
So, yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Stuffin, for instance, he was not a real character in my mind. I did see a lot of humanity in some of the other characters as the group started to break apart. So I do disagree a little bit with you. And I remember just the first time I saw it being so emotionally devastated with that slap at the end. But this time I saw it more like, you're going to drag this out for an hour and 45 minutes? Like, we're going to keep going? And so I felt a lot of it was fluff this time that I didn't particularly like.
No, that's good. That's completely reasonable. So we scored this Dogma piece.
This was my pick, so you have to score.
So my score, I have to say that I fluctuated a lot, and I may still just change it. But
Wait, what was the range that you were considering before you tell us where you landed?
No, I'm going to tell you where I landed, and I'm going to be telling you the range.
Okay.
The other way around. I actually landed on my 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I still think that it's like, okay, Dogma as saving cinema is stupid, but as doing an exercise in cinema is interesting. And I think that is like just doing this, working around the rules, like trying to break your own rules, is like, sure, that works. That works in some kind of way. And I think that the emotional payoff of that scene is good. It actually works pretty well. It's like how uncomfortable you feel is amazing, but there is no message. There is nothing. Is that there is only like just toying with me. And toying
the
with me.
message is that Dogma is spazzing, and spazzing is going to save these people. That is the message.
Okay. And my range was from 6 to 7.
Oh, I thought it was maybe 6 to 10.
No, definitely not.
So my score is a 6.5. I don't disagree with most of your complaints about the film. I definitely like this more than you. Like I said, I would recommend it to one person in my mind, Jessica, if you're listening. And I will absolutely remember this. I always felt like I would happily watch this movie. Not happily. I would watch this movie again. After watching it this time, I think I'm done with The Idiots.
You're never going to watch it again.
Watch it again, but I did watch it willingly twice. So
Okay.
overall, didn't work, but interesting attempt.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we said like it didn't work, but we still gave it a 6 and a 6.5.
And I think that's like a lot of just giving him points for trying something different. I mean, if you look at how many Dogma films Lars Von Trier actually directed, you can see he also didn't believe in spazzing either. So,
well, he didn't direct any other, but the thing is, like, I don't think that Thomas Vinterberg directed any other film. I think
that's my point, is that they all may have done one, and then they're like, oh, this is ridiculous.
But I don't, well, they still remain as the brothers, as the committee for just validating the rest of them. But I think that it was a bit more of similar to the 5 obstructions. This is a good exercise about like to just bring yourself into doing something different and just grow as a director. Honestly, I'm not offended that he's saving cinema at all. I just want to reinforce this. I'm not buying into his crap. But I think that if I was a director, maybe I would read this and say, okay, maybe I don't buy through all of these, but maybe I'm going to be like setting my own obstructions. Now, the only thing is that my own obstructions, I can just say like, fuck these obstructions. I'm going to be like doing something different. But in this case, as you needed the stamp at the end, it's like, you are forced to do it from the beginning to the end. I'm not defending him. I'm not going to be like changing my score or anything.
You want it to be 7 now, don't you?
No, I had to say that like when I finished watching, it's like okay, that was a good payoff. And then the more that I kept thinking, it's like for a while I was thinking about it. Like, no, fight this guy. Fight this guy. It's like he's actually just. I'm playing his game. Don't let him win.
Okay, not saying you're wrong, but also how many movies do you end and then you just keep thinking about it and having an argument with yourself?
Europa.
That in and of itself is an accomplishment. So
Europa. I did that, but it's like I was thinking about the rest of the movies that we watched by Lars Von Trier and the rest of the movies that I watched by him, and it's like I think that the best movie that I watched from him in this
part 2.
No, in this cycle, because we didn't watch that in the cycle, and I'm not going to watch. I'm bettering Nymphomaniac right now. Is Europa. Europa, I think that is genuinely an amazing movie. It actually displays what he's capable of.
And it's interesting that was such a success, and then specifically part of the Dogma rules were no genre films. So he was like completely rejecting what he was good at in the past.
Yeah, it's a bit more like, okay, I know that it can be amazing, like just playing with filters, black and white, background narration. It's like, this is Europa, and now you die. It's like, that's completely forbidden. It's like, everything is forbidden. It's like basically he looking...
The special effects of the explosion on the train.
Yeah, it's basically he looking into what did I do right in the past, and say like, I'm going to be like throwing this out of the window.
He was playing the 5 obstructions with himself.
Yep.
It's like, I'm too talented. I gotta put some restraints in place.
It's like, God knows if cinema is prepared to what I can accomplish without restrictions. So I need to just, like put a break here. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it's the kind of thing that I like him, but it's like with Haneke, as we were opening at the beginning, is like, I love to love. I think that is someone that is like, I love the cinema that I watch by him. And it's like every single time that I have to talk with someone, I can, like happily bring up Haneke and say like, oh, you should watch, Amor, Funny Games, Cassette. It's like, I feel proud of bringing it up. With Lars Von Trier, I feel like, I don't know.
It's like your browsing history you have to delete.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I feel proud. I know that I'm going to go back to that webpage, but I don't know if I feel proud about that moment in my life.
I'm going to feel gross with myself after I'm done.
Yeah. So that's the problem that I have. It's not that he's not talented. I think that he is talented. I think that he's amazing. And I think that I wish that we could actually have like more directors like him. But at the same time, it's like, I wish that... I don't know what I wish about you, because I hate you and I love you.
So, Dancer in the Dark you cannot use, but what Lars Von... you can't use Europa either. What Lars Von Trier film besides those two would you just like full-on recommend to a friend or family member?
Breaking the Waves. Not to a family member, but Breaking the Waves, I would recommend it. Not to a family member because the masturbation in the bus probably is not the best.
I don't remember that.
So when she's like just recommended by God, she said you have to just grow, you have to give pleasure to other men too. And there is like this old guy that sits next to her like a neighbor or something, and she's like, I'm going to do what God told me. And she actually just unzips her pants and says, I'm going to start masturbating. And after like just jerking him off, it's like she just leaves like and throws up. There is a holy shit, this was gratuitous.
And this is the film you'd recommend.
But I still think that it actually just fits. That fits significantly more into the character than actually this full steam orgy in the Idiots.
No, it's a good point.
And Melancholia, I would actually recommend Melancholia.
That's the one that I would recommend.
And Melancholia, I think that is an amazing movie. And Dogville, I think that is a good movie. No Manderley. Dogville.
Yeah, the 5 Obstructions I would recommend. All right. Well, thank you for being willing to revisit this movie with me. What are we watching next week?
So next week we are watching I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Charles Kaufman, because it comes out this Friday. So it's the kind of movie that I will watch this Friday, regardless if you want to watch it or not. So I want to talk about it with you. And probably
Okay.
I will actually try to watch the New York because I never watched it.
Which one? Oh,
Synod?
Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah.
So awesome. I did see Synecdoche. I thought it was weird, and I read the book. I'm thinking of ending things, so I'm on board with both of these. Maybe if I can watch Synecdoche, New York. It's a long movie, man. Felt like a long movie at least.
How long was it?
I want to say like 5.5 hours.
Are you fucking?
It just felt that long.
Okay, it's 2 hours. Yeah, that's a bit long. Oh, with Phyllis Seymour Hoffman. Okay.
Yeah, and Samantha Morton. It's got a great cast.
Huh. Michelle Williams. Okay. No, that's cool. The funny thing is that this guy didn't write too many scripts. Did you read? Well, I don't want to go too much into this because I think that we're going to be like just next time talking a lot about it. But yeah. Okay, man. Anything else to say about the idiots?
Just God bless Lars Von Trier. That's all.
Okay, man. Well, to whoever is out there that is putting with us, you have a place in heaven.
Till next time, wash your hands.
Bye.